Gaza's cry for peace. Unprecedented anti-Hamas protests erupt amidst renewed Israeli strikes. The besieged streets of northern Gaza bore witness to a remarkable display of defiance on Tuesday, as hundreds of Palestinians poured into the streets, their voices unified in a powerful cry for peace and an end to Hamas rule. This unprecedented demonstration, described as the largest anti-Hamas protest within the territory since the October 7th attacks, represents a seismic shift in the region's volatile political landscape. The sheer scale and intensity of the protests underscore the deep-seated frustration and desperation simmering beneath the surface of Gaza's protracted conflict. Videos and images circulating on social media painted a vivid picture of the protests' raw energy. Hundreds, predominantly men, congregated in Beit Lahia, a northern Gaza town, their chants echoing with a clear and unwavering message: Hamas out! Hamas terrorists! The air crackled with a palpable sense of urgency, fueled by the renewed Israeli airstrikes that had resumed a week prior, shattering a nearly 2-month-long truce. The location itself, in front of the Indonesian hospital, served as a poignant backdrop, highlighting the human cost of the ongoing conflict and the desperate need for an end to the violence. This surge of anti-Hamas sentiment is not a spontaneous eruption. It's a culmination of years of simmering discontent, punctuated by the devastating consequences of Hamas's rule. The recent escalation of violence, coupled with the unrelenting blockade and the chronic shortages of essential resources, have pushed many Gazans to their breaking point. The protests are a visceral expression of their collective exhaustion, with a leadership they see as prioritizing conflict over the well-being of its own people. One protester, speaking anonymously to Agence France-Presse (AFP), captured the prevailing sentiment: "I don't know who organized the protest. I participated to send a message on behalf of the people. Enough with the war." His words resonate with the shared yearning for peace that transcends political affiliations. His account, however, also sheds light on the oppressive environment under which these brave individuals are operating. He reported witnessing members of the Hamas security forces in civilian clothing breaking up the protest. A stark reminder of the risks these protesters were willing to take to voice their dissent. The powerful slogans chanted throughout the demonstration resonated deeply with the spirit of the Bidna Enish, "We Want to Live" movement, which emerged during the 2019 Gaza economic protests. This earlier movement, though brutally suppressed by Hamas, laid the groundwork for the current wave of resistance. Hamas, then as now, characterized the protests as being orchestrated by its rival, Fatah, a tactic aimed at discrediting the widespread discontent amongst its own population. The brutal crackdown on the 2019 protests serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths to which Hamas will go to silence dissent and maintain its iron grip on power. This time, however, the scale and intensity of the protests suggest a growing defiance that may prove difficult for Hamas to suppress. The sheer number of participants, the clear articulation of their demands, and the widespread dissemination of the protests through social media all point towards a significant shift in public opinion. The protests represent not just a rejection of Hamas, but a desperate plea for a future free from violence, a future where the basic human rights of the Gazan people are respected and protected. The international community cannot afford to ignore the powerful message emanating from the streets of Gaza. These are not simply protests. They are a desperate cry for help, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable hardship. The international community must exert pressure on all parties involved to ensure a lasting ceasefire, address the root causes of the conflict, and support the aspirations of the Gazan people for a peaceful and prosperous future. Ignoring this profound expression of popular will would be a catastrophic mistake, one that could have devastating consequences for the long-term stability of the region. The world is watching, and the courageous voices of Gaza deserve to be heard. The ongoing struggle for peace in Gaza is far from over, but the protests represent a beacon of hope, a symbol of the indomitable human spirit striving for a brighter future. The echoes of Hamas out and We Want to Live are resounding calls for change, demands that cannot and should not be ignored.